Everybody, welcome to the sanctuary. Today I'm going to tell you 5 reasons why your backyard bird feeder may not be performing as well as you would like. Reason is empty feeders. This is a big one. If you have feeders but they're empty, it doesn't do any good. So once that's filled up, you'll start to see birds return. This is true for all feeders. If your main feeder, like for me, is probably this one or that one over there, if those are empty, the entire yard is going to be hindered by it. So make sure that your main feeders are also full. A good idea to always have a clean filled bird bath. This is a good one for any situation because birds always need water just as much as food. Local woodpecker, and he loves our yard because we have suet and different nut mixes for him. Also a good idea to make sure that your seeds are not soaking wet or spoiled. They're also all husks. These have been out for about a week and it rained yesterday, and this is an open head feeder, so I am going to switch these. Now is also a good time to talk about different foods. Using black oil sunflower seed in every feeder, you're going to get grackles, sparrows, and maybe some other birds. It's a much better idea to incorporate a high variety like black oil. Different stuff like mealworms, safflower seeds, nut and fruit, Niger suet, whole nuts, seed mixes, etc. It's also worth noting that if your yard is very low foliage, like super open space, birds probably are not going to come as much. Do good in areas like robins and bluebirds if you have a lot of worms, but other songbirds really will not come to your yard as much. However, anyone could feed birds, and your yard does not completely constitute, the yield of birds you can get. If you have a low foliage yard, you could tape a tarp like this to 2 fence posts or something to create a foliage. This actually does pretty good with birds, and that artificial foliage will give them some sense of safety. Our feeders are conveniently placed near either bird houses or trees and foliage. This whole line of trees and foliage is good because the birds have somewhere to perch and they feel safe. Distant feeders are obviously close to this birdhouse there, and also these trees, which has a high network of birds. Here with these, they're by foliage like that tree, so the birds feel very comfortable. The reason could be if you're over ground feeding. If you're constantly throwing seed on the ground, the feeders become less appealing to birds like cardinals and blue jays who like to be a little bit more lonesome on the feeders. Attract a bunch of sparrows, grackles, and pigeons that are going to come and sweep the floors, making blue jays, goldfinches, and cardinals very uncomfortable in your yard. Instead, use posts or canes to hook up your feeders far from the fences, and if there is spillage in large amounts, sweep it up. Obviously, tiny spillages like that is not a big deal. And if you have some seed spillage, that's just part of the deal. If you really can't stand this, you can try for a no mess seed, which has no husks, so they essentially eat the entire thing. As you can see just over here, there are many husks that fall onto the ground from the feeders. You can see this big time over here as well. There's not much to do about this. If you want to grab your blower, you can blow it off with a garden blower, or you could just wait for the wind to take care of it. If you're going to use a camera on a feeder, which is a good idea, I think, it's a good idea to have at least a thumb to pinky width ratio. That's about 9 inches, 8 inches. So that gives the birds enough room to crawl around. And, if the security camera is still a non-reflective, they're not going to be too worried about it. However, it can disturb them in some levels. So it's good to have a little bit of distance. And ideally, you'd put it on a little post like this and not onto a fence. Anyway, so if you try to do these things, you can make a haven where birds are a lot more comfortable in the yard, and you'll probably get more songbirds and less grackles. Generally speaking, it's a lot nicer when you have a different variety and the right feeders for each type. It's also worth noting that certain seeds don't work good for certain feeders. For example, Niger. I wouldn't put Niger seed inside of a tube feeder. It's going to fall out. You have to use a Niger specialized feeder, or, well, I don't like them, Niger socks also can work for that. With suet, I've seen people try to put suet in regular feeders. It doesn't work, obviously. You have to use a suet cage, whether you're using cylinder suet or regular suet. It's certainly okay to use just even twig branches to put a piece of suet here. The suet has been cleaned up very nicely just because, birds are not so picky, but you need to have a proper thing to hold your food. Either way, I probably would not put mealworms in a tube feeder because they get crushed easily, and it's just not a great idea. The thing is, if you have feeders that are super inviting with the food, you have to make them less inviting. For example, this is a very grackle inviting food. It's cracked corn, but I use a feeder with small perches and decals to keep grackles away mainly. I hope this helps. Happy birding.